Hey, everybody. Morning. Morning. How y'all today? I'm tired, man. Y'all about to kill me this week. I'm getting old. Here we go. Everybody's good, man. Good deal. Oh, okay. I didn't see the scroll. Hold on. Here we go. We got people here. Here we go. How's everybody today?
I can't see me.
I'm getting everybody. Hang in there, guys. This waiting room may be a bad idea.
There
All right, we got 23 people at 24. We go 25. All right, everybody settled in. That's how I feel this morning. I heard that one. All right. Did I get everybody? Did I miss anybody? All right. I left my coffee over here. Let me grab it. I'm gonna try not to spill water today. Man, we got everybody. Anybody in the waiting room? I don't see anybody in the waiting room. Here we go. Anybody else? There's some. Here comes Gonzalez. All right. All right. I've got 28 people on roll. So if we get one more person in here, we'll have everybody here. That's pretty good. All right. I'm gonna cut off of this for a second. That's how I can see y'all. All right. Got a few folks. There they go. Those cameras are coming on. Everybody's not wanting to wake up. All right, wake up. I will tell y'all that I am so glad that I normally, if it hadn't been for COVID-19, I've been co-directing a church camp this week every year for about 15 years. But I've been going out to this church camp for 29 years. So this first week, I usually leave here at 4 or 5 o'clock, go out there and stay out there and stay up to 1 or 2 o'clock with these kids, and we get up and drive in. And I am glad I am not at church camp. And Lord forgive me, but I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad I didn't have church camp this week. I don't think I'd have made it. I came back up here. I left here about 4 o'clock yesterday. Went and played a little disc golf. I needed to throw some plastic and throw something, hit a tree. Came back up here about 8 o'clock, and here comes Sean. I came back up here about 8 o'clock and left about 10:30 last night. So and then I couldn't go to sleep, so I got about 5 hours. I went to bed about 1:30 and got up at about 6:15. So probably got about 5 hours of sleep. And I'm sure some of y'all have had that too. So I'm running a little low today on energy. So y'all forgive me if I say something completely stupid. There's a high probability I can do that today. Y'all keep an eye on that. Somebody jumps in, or if it's possible you could get knocked out accidentally. Did anybody see something just a moment ago, like momentarily ago, right before about 5 minutes till? Did anybody get an update on a grade? Did y'all get okay? Something y'all may want to do. Y'all may want to go into Canvas and set the settings in there so that when I put a grade in, it will send you that your grade has changed or you've had something touched in there. As I just put everybody's test up about 10 minutes ago. So won't y'all take a moment and go to grades and see what you made? I'm not going to talk about the test itself. I don't always tell everybody all my business because I don't think it's everybody's business, but I have one of my labs. I know everybody's not in my lab. One of my labs, somebody brought it up, so I thought I might just address it. I like to kind of stop all rumors. What's up, Sean? kind of stop all rumors and stuff. I had this is the worst registration I've ever seen in 29 years here in Northwest. And I called my boss yesterday morning, and she told the president that yesterday. I mean, I was working people's schedule until literally 8:30, 9:30 Monday and Tuesday night. My friend down here, Sean, I couldn't even get him in the freaking class. He's going to sit in and listen to it because he's going to wait and take it in the fall. He would go write a check for $1,400, and they wouldn't even let him in the class. Anyway, long story short, Sean, if you'd have came up here yesterday, they'd put you in. I found out after the fact. Okay, I apologize to you. I was so busy. But the more science, anybody that listens to this, gets in here and listens to this, I admire you. And listen to this. This one, and I know we got 2-3 people to take it. They're taking the test Friday. So 3 people got added Tuesday, and I didn't think it was fair for them to come on the first day and have to take a test. Now, nobody knows who that is really, but you know who you are. So y'all going to take it. I think one person's taking it today. And I don't know why I didn't think for y'all to take it today during the other lab you're not taking. Because that way I wouldn't have to come up here Friday because I other than the lecture, but I'm not the smartest person in the world. I want to be doing something else, I would have made a millionaire. I'd be a millionaire doing something else. But I want to read out. But normally what I would do is I would like to be in a big room and go over the test. And I like to surprise those who did real good. So I lost that opportunity this morning. I didn't get to hand, your 105. Okay, we had 105. 105. How many points were on the test? 105. That is what we call a perfect game, a no-hitter or whatever. So very impressive to the 105. Very impressive to 2 104s. We had 10 A's out of 25 people that took the test. Now, I always like to put that on the board. I've been famous for writing it on the board, but I want to do a virtual board. 10 A's, 6 of them over 100. I had a feeling that was going to happen, and I told you I predicted 10 A's. Call me Robin Notre Dame. Okay? But anyway, we had 5 B's. 3 of them were 89. So we could have had 3. If things get any worse in our country and the world ends next week, those 3 89s will be an A, okay? So we may be in another dimension, but at least know that you had an A, okay? So we got 13 people sitting on an A right now. Then we had an 88, 86. The lowest B was an 86. So here's where we're at. We got 15 people that are way smart, okay, and who studied, and they probably had really good. I know we got several Ole Miss students. Y'all might want to tell everybody else how things go at Ole Miss, because I think this was a fairly fair test. It was very fair, but I think it was a probably one of the easier tests we'll have this year. There actually is an easier test this semester on skin, and we'll tell we get it like test 3 or 4 is way easier than the test we took yesterday. So there is another really, really easy test. But I can't help what chapters we're covering. And I'm not saying that to run anybody down. I hope y'all have done figured out that I'm not that kind of person. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm saying is that I always like to put the grades up so that you can see where you're at, right? Because if I told you the high score is 50, knowing how many smart people in this class, what would that say about the teacher? You can speak up. I'm not doing my job, okay? I'm not doing my job, right? This is crazy, okay? And I have people work for me that would have had a 50 on this test because they would have put stuff on here that had nothing to do with what we talked about that went in the book. And I think I can show you every bit of that in the book or in my lecture, because one of the questions was directly from lecture. Okay, so one more time, we had 10 A's, 5 B's, 3 C's, 3 D's, and 4 F's. Okay. Now, before I get rolling today, I need a couple of you guys to help me out. Okay, I am really got a lot going on. Okay, and it's no excuse. I know y'all got kids and other stuff going on, but when we get to today, when everybody scream, Robin, take the credit card statement over to your boss, so I won't get fired today. So I came back up here. I had to do a credit card statement, and I have a pretty nice little budget, and I spent about $20,000 the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I have to take a receipt over to everything I buy, or they come and arrest me. Okay, because I have a credit card. I have a Northwest credit card. Whoa, Okay, so don't want to get arrested. Okay, and that's got to be turned in today. And so, being the person I am, I'm a last minute kind of guy. It's going to get turned in today. And also, do I look a little dim today? I don't see my picture up here. Let me see if I can find me up here. I don't know why I'm not up here. Normally, I thought I was on here. I could see myself. like if I had a booger or something hanging out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Look here. There are, it appears to be 4 or 6 light bulbs in my roof, and there's only one working. So if I go dark, I don't know what we're gonna do. Okay, but I'm down to 1 light bulb. So if somebody at the end of class say, Robin, call maintenance and get you some freaking light so we can see you, or maybe y'all don't want to see me or whatever. But like I said, guys, we'll get started now. But I'm very happy with the grades. I am beyond pleased. And for those who have that 86. Hey man, I got no problem turning in 15 A's, man. I won't. I mean, in fact, I'd be thrilled to get to turn in 15 A's and have 15 out of 25 people make an A. The C people, you can still get an A. D people, you can still get. I don't do a drop grade. Okay, I quit doing drop grade 15 years ago on major tests because I had a group like this, and guess how many took the final? Nobody. I had like 5 great students come in and say, I'm not going to take the final. I have an A. I can drop it. And they missed the entire nervous system, and they went to nursing school, probably failed because they didn't know anything about the nervous system. Because the final is it's nothing but the nervous system. So I'm not going to have a drop grade, but we're going to have each of them count, like what, 12%. Okay. Another quick thing, I know since and like I said, folks, I got to start on Monday. I'm sorry that y'all got the transcripts got screwed up, and you guys, come in late. Look, guys, look. Y'all got to, I can't help that, man. I got to start on Monday, man. And some of y'all need to go back and listen to Monday lecture because I went over all the stuff, right, on Monday. I don't have time to go over it again. There is online homework. There is a code in there. And over that my lab and mastering stuff, right, y'all got to go in there and do that. Now, my 3 people that came in late, I'm going to give y'all to Monday to catch up on homework. And I'm going to go back and regrade. I'm going to be fair. But I ain't got time to hold people's hands, man. Y'all should be here Monday, man. Okay, we got to roll. Okay. I mean, I'm not being ugly. We just got to roll. I got to roll. My job, my job is to do my thing on Monday, but I'm very compassionate and letting y'all catch up, right? And like I said, Sean, I apologize, dude. I just is really, but I think you'll enjoy this. And anytime you want to sit in, you're welcome. But I'm more, me, I'm full disclosure, okay? But I did. Hey, your name was mentioned to the president yesterday morning. Just take my word on it. Because I did a 20-minute rant from 7:40 to 8 yesterday morning to my boss.
I'm in emailing. They emailed me yesterday. I'm emailing them right now with some stuff. So it might work out.
I mean, it's just bad business, But you wasn't the only one, Sean. I talked to 2 girls. I was up here last night. I talked to a student that wanted in desperately, and then she found out from Ole Miss she just only needed A&P 1. I was going to put her in today because it was going to affect her career. Like I can't get in my program next year, kind of thing. And I was going to go. I'm going to go ballistic. Anyway, enough said. I'm sorry. I ramble. All right. Any questions before we get started? I've been enrolled in one of my favorite chapters. Anybody y'all just go ahead. Anybody got a question before we get started? Yeah. Everybody good? Hey, I really want to thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Appreciate the hard work that several of y'all done. Okay. Not several of y'all. Most of y'all done. Sorry. All right. Now let me see if I can get our PowerPoint up. That I did fire already up, if I can find it. And once again, y'all bear with me. As y'all have already figured out, my technology sometimes is lacking. Okay, I've got to figure something out here. Why it's not doing what I want it to do. Let's see. Can y'all see the PowerPoint? Okay. Okay, y'all can see it, okay? Okay, thanks. For some reason it's not letting me spread y'all back out. Oh, I forgot. I gotta pull it out. I gotta do the thing here. Okay, I got some folks ain't got their camera on yet. Don't make me get ugly. I need to see y'all, man. I really enjoy this, being able to see y'all. It really does make it easier for me. Okay, now here we go. So chapter 3, everybody get your coffee out and everything. And we'll try to take another break today since I started on pseudo time. But this is a very interesting chapter. In a lot of books that I've taught out of over the years, this could almost be 4 chapters. Okay, I've seen. So this is the only chapter in the book that all of us teachers only give one chapter on one test. So I'm telling y'all, oh, look at Megan outdoors. I love it, Megan. That's so cool. You gotta like that. She's outdoors. I love it. I love it. Her and her. That's cool. Looks nice. I wish I should do it outdoors one day. All right. But there's a little bit of cell metabolism in here. There's a section on transportation, how we get things in and out of the cell. That's usually a chapter in some books. The cell metabolism is all the organelles, and that's a chapter in most books. And then there's a little section on how we communicate the gene information to make proteins, which is very interesting. It's kind of difficult, and it will be a discussion question. And then there's a cell reproduction that we covered yesterday in lab. Now I got to look carried away in lab yesterday, so I won't repeat any of my stories. But y'all can tell that I have a real passion for that, how mitosis and meiosis and how mitosis works for cell division, and we'll talk about that when we get to that. Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is just do a couple of little terms here. We actually covered these in the chapter 1, so a little bit of repeat, and y'all can see here. But remember, metabolism is all the reactions in the body that occur at one time. You know, all the reactions together. And some of y'all missed this on the test, right? Anabolic reactions do what? Build things up, like anabolic steroids. If you're pumping weight, eating protein, and shooting those steroids, you're going to build up. Catabolic, the word catastrophe, means to break down and tear down. So when we eat, we do catabolism, right? And then we use those building blocks to do anabolic reactions to build us up. And we even mentioned oxidative reduction and both of those terms are on the test. One test had reduction, other test had oxidation, right? So remember, to gain electrons is reduce, and to lose is oxidation. Okay? And of course, cells have got to grow and reproduce. Okay, let's get on into it. So the very first thing we look at is the basic overview of the cell. And there's 3 sections here, and we'll kind of blow through these. I'm going to go through these kind of quick. Most of y'all should know this already. So I'm not gonna read the book to y'all. I'm gonna hit the highlights, but there's more difficult stuff coming forward. I'm gonna roll through these organelles if y'all don't mind really quick. Now look, if something really you're not sure about, or you get like, hey, wait, I don't follow that, throw your hand up or hit space bar and say, hey, Mr. Robin, and I will absolutely stop and answer your question. Okay, but with us not lecturing on test day, we really I'm losing a little bit of time there. I really got to roll on through this thing. Okay. And as we said earlier, I may click a bunch. That's probably not high probability test material, but I will pull a few things out of that. Okay, but this is the basic structure of a cell, which is really kind of interesting when you think about it. This is what a cell looks like, and it has the cell membrane, always, and then if you're a eukaryote, meaning you're a plant, animal, fungi, or protista, you have a nucleus in the very center that contains the chromosomes that you got from mom and dad. And then you have all this cellular machinery on the outside in the cytoplasm that do the work of the cell. Now, if you have never seen this, or if it's been a long time, let me give you a good metaphor that helps. Think of this as a city, and every part of a city has a job, right? Like City Hall, where the mayor is, that's a nucleus. The power department is the mitochondria. The endoplasmic reticulum would be the railroad and highways and byways, right? The ribosome would be the factory where the work is done, okay? The lysosomes would be the maintenance, the people who pick up the trash, okay? So there's a lot of good metaphors on this. We used to do labs on this. It's a fun lab you can do. Another one I like is that's the cell model, the city model, excuse me. But so you could also play one on a town or a city. And I've also, another one I've seen, like you could have one, I guess that's the best, my favorite too, the factory model. The factory is a good model too. With the boss up in his office in nucleus, he never comes out, right? My president's only been in his building once, right? But he's got bigger things to do, but he's trusted me to do my job, and I like that. That's good with me. But anyway, those are kind of cool things. You always have nucleus, cytoplasm, organelles in the cytoplasm, and then that cell membrane, okay? Now, here's the first one. The cell membrane in all animals and all living eukaryotes is a phospholipid bilayer. That was a term on y'all's test the other day, and what you should have answered was that's what the cell membrane is made out of, right? Or it is a special type of fat with 2 fatty acids. I was very lenient on the terms. I'm going to give y'all a chance to see your test either before or after lab. And I know 2 or 3 of y'all are not in lab, so y'all will have to look at your test on test day. And so if I get crazy in lab, I may wait just to let y'all look at it. I may let y'all look at your first test after you hand me your second test next Monday. We can do that. So there's a couple options. I'll just carry them with me and we'll work it out. But I'm not going to go over the thing, but I will let you look at your test. I just don't see any. I don't want to get in a room with all y'all. I think that's too many in one room to go over it, and it would be very hard for us to find a time other than test day when we all come together. Okay? So the plasma membrane is a phospholipid bilayer that is going to control what enters and leaves the cell. Now, I'm going to tell you, it has the cytoplasm and then this intracellular fluid, and we really have probably figured out 95% of what's going on inside. I say that, but probably 90, 85% of what's going on inside the cell. One of the biggest areas of biology research right now is this extracellular fluid. There's a lot of stuff going on outside the cell that is getting a lot of press play, or at least a lot of research going on. I haven't, like I said, we didn't talk about it when I was y'all's age, but it looks like there's a lot going on out there, and we'll allude to some of it in here. I'm not going to ask a bunch of questions on it, but just be aware for y'all going forward in your career, there's going to be a lot of talk about stuff going on in this extracellular matrix or extracellular fluid, and we'll look at some of this today. Okay, we've already said cytoplasm is just the liquid inside the cell itself, which is mainly water and other things, right? And these organelles float in this. And so your cytoplasm is almost like Jell-O with these organelles stuck in it. I always think about Jell-O with fruit or nuts in it, right? Stuck up in there, right? And those organelles would be that, okay? So organelles are specific structures that do very specific things for the cell so that the cell can do its job, okay? And then the cytoskeleton is nothing more than protein and filaments that are scaffolding that hold everybody in place. I mean, think about it. When you go jogging today, all your organelles would get all banged on at the bottom of the cell, right? I mean, if it wasn't for this scaffolding holding it all together, okay? And what I'm just thinking about it, let me just show you something here, kind of a very important thing to understand. And I don't know if I can get this pen to work today. I'm still, oh, it's down here. I found it. But I want to attempt to show you something, because sometimes you can get lost in here. I think you can miss the forest for the trees, okay, or miss the trees for the forest, whichever one that's supposed to go. But look, inside here in this nucleus is the DNA that you got from your parents. It is going to be copied into a compound called messenger RNA. And I'm sorry, I'm doing this with my little mouse. That is going to go out to the cytoplasm, to the organelles, and it is going to tell you how to make a protein. I can spell protein this morning. It's a stretch. I'm not good with this mouse. I've got to get another way of doing it. And these proteins are mainly enzymes that do, that's a D, by the way, all things. Okay? That's pretty bad. That's cryptic. If you get this note, you're a genius. Okay, one more time. DNA never leaves the nucleus. It is copied in the messenger RNA. Now, look, I'm going to tell you, man, we can debate about it. We can argue about it, why God did it this way, but there is no doubt this is the way it is, okay? So we just got to accept some things in biology as the way the greater power chose it. DNA is copied into RNA. RNA goes out to the ribosomes where proteins are made, tells them how to make proteins. There are about 24,000 genes. There are 24,000 messenger RNAs that make 180,000 proteins in the human body. And those proteins do everything. When you look in this room right now on this Zoom at all this beautiful diversity that I see right now in front of my eyes, that is 0.1% of the difference in the DNA. You are 99.999% identical. Only just a smidgen gives us the diversity we see in this room. If you go and look at the world, that plants and animals, hold on, I got, my man, this is, look, Mr. Phillip brought me something to eat. I appreciate that, dude. You should have hollered at him, man. He was up here late last night. He was still here when I got here. He was rolling. I came back up here at 8:30 to the credit card. Yeah, thank you, bro. Tell your wife I love her. All right. He brought me a cinnamon roll, man. Y'all can tell I need it, but I appreciate that. But guys, look, is this not the coolest thing ever? This is the fundamental theory of biology. DNA tells us how to do everything. Robin is ugly because I had DNA that was converted into messenger RNA that went to a ribosome that made enzymes that made me ugly. Y'all, and by the way, once again, this is like the 37th consecutive class I've taught that I am the ugliest person in the room. This is not fair, okay? Everybody in here is better looking than me. It's just not fair. Okay, even Sean. Okay, but this is not the cool. This to me is really cool. Okay, and we'll come back to this. I'll leave it up. I can back up. It'll stay on there. But that's a big deal. And oh, here it is. It's talking about it. DNA of the nucleus is copied into RNA. RNA tells us how to make proteins, and proteins do everything. Okay? Is that cool? I mean, that's really cool to me. All right, cells. Look, cells come in all shapes and sizes. Matter of fact, I used to make people draw this. The cell, they ain't probably one. That's probably your cheek cell. That's the only one that even looks like this. But your cells are all different. They all have different shapes and sizes. Red blood cells are small. Nerves. You have nerves that go from your big toe to your spinal cord, from your spinal cord all the way up to your brain. So you have some nerves that are very long. Okay. So, and then of course, structure and function go together. Blah blah blah. All right. Here's the cell membrane. Now, if you remember, phospholipid is made out of a glycerol with 2 fatty acids instead of 1, and a phosphate head. And so we draw it like this. In reality, I think I have it here right here. Let me see. No, they didn't put it in here. They usually have it in the book showing it to you, but this is the glycerol is up here. Glycerol is here, and that represents 1 fatty acid. And that, remember, what are fatty acids? Long carbon chains, right? That have hydrogen stuck on them. Okay, because remember, all fats are made out of glycerol, usually, except for, well, the most common fat in your body is triglyceride, glycerol with 3 fatty acids. This one has 2, but in the place of one of those fatty acids, you have a phosphate group. So what this does, guys, is you have an end here that has a charge to it. So this part will stick to water, and this end has no charge, and it hates water. Okay, but it loves oils. Now look, you can this has been done many times, and naturally in the world you can find phospholipids, drop them in water, and they will form a spear. They will form a phospholipid bilayer like you see here, where the fatty acids will grab each other with the phosphate head on the outside and the inside. So here's the phosphate head here and here. It almost looks like a sandwich, doesn't it? 2 pieces of bread stuck together. Okay, because the fatty acids like each other, they grab each other, and you have a spear forming, and you make a perfect little circle. You can drop phospholipids in water, and they form cell membranes. Thus, they form the actual structure of the cell. And I try not to get into regular biology too much on y'all, but the big debate about how life began, and I do believe it began here on Earth somehow. God started it, but it still had to happen. And you can make cells without anything in them naturally in nature. We find them, little spears. And then if you get that DNA in there, then shazam, you got life. Now, we'll tell y'all that we have not made life yet in the laboratory. There are a lot of people trying to do that, but we have yet to get that spark between a dead animal and a living animal. There's something there that we can't quantitate. Like if your dog's ever killed another dog, Sean, for that second right before that dog died, it was alive. The next second after that dog died, everything was still there, right? But it's gone. But his little doggy soul has gone somewhere else or whatever, right? And I say that's a little inside joke there. We were in an account one day, and one of his dogs killed a dog, and a bunch of parents were there. It was really funny. It was really kind of scary. I'm just saying it wasn't somebody's dog. It was a stray dog. Okay, but look at this. So we'll look at this one more time. So you have a phospholipid. Hey, wouldn't this be a great thing to have to draw on a test? Wouldn't that just be a great question? Draw me some cell membrane. You know what I'm saying? That would be a good one. But look, you have a phospholipid bilayer, and these purple things are proteins that are stuck in to the cell membrane. Okay? And some of them go all the way through like this, or tubes. Some are only on the outside. Some are only on the inside. I don't see one here right now, right here. Now look, these proteins, we're going to talk about them real quick. They all have special jobs in the cell. Okay? Very important jobs in the cell. Okay? And so this is way important. I'm trying to get my hands. I'm a hand person. I'm not going to knock my coffee all day, but I cannot overemphasize how important these are. Okay? Now, they see the little green thing sticking off? These are sugars stuck on these proteins, and these have big jobs too, including one of my favorite. They serve as receptors for hormones. They serve as markers. How many of y'all have heard of people needing an organ transplant like a kidney, and they say, oh, we found a match in Michigan for Robin to get a kidney? That means that there's somebody in Michigan going to donate a kidney that has the same signature markers on their outside their cells that are close enough to mine, so we can drug my body, kind of make it drunk. It won't recognize that kidney as being itself, and then over time, my body accepts that kidney. Now, obviously, an identical twin would be your best way to find an organ, but it is so random. I'll give you a phone here real quick. I have one of my former students, good friend of mine. Love this young lady. She is one of the most wonderful, caring people I know. She's a nurse, and they came around the hospital and said, "Hey, I want y'all all give your DNA out of your mouth and be on the organ donor list for the world, worldwide organ donor list. For DNA and for blood or whatever. For your stem cells. Pull them out of your hip or organ." She gets a call 2 years later that there's somebody that she's a match for, a perfect match for a kidney, and this person needs a kidney. And I'll be honest with you, I told her I wouldn't give my kidney up at her age, and she's a mama. I mean, I'm just saying you have responsibilities. I personally, you got to be somebody I really love to get one of my kidneys. I'm very selfish. She went and gave her kidney to this person, and come to find out that person was in our same small hometown, the same town she lives in. That is astronomically, statistically almost impossible. And that person was not supposed to find out who it was, but it just kind of got out in that little town, like, where's Bubba? He's getting a kidney. Where's Sally? She donated a kidney, and it kind of even made some local news here in that little town. But he went to her and thanked her later, which I thought was really nice. Okay. But that is how that works. Okay. An organ match means your little receptors are very similar to each other. Okay. A lot of cool stuff with that. Okay. Now, I'm sitting here talking random, and I'm not defining a word over here. Fluid mosaic model. Okay. Now, I'm going to go from memory here, but around 1972, we had no idea what the cell membrane looked like. And a couple of guys named Singers and Nicholson were able to take a picture with a scanning electrode, with an electron microscope of this. And so we know this is what it looked like. And when they saw it, they said they called it the fluid mosaic because the phospholipids are very fluid and they can move. And if you don't believe me, rub your arm just a little bit. See how that pushes in like Jello? That's that. You're knocking that membrane down. You're popping this right here, and you're making this thing go up and down. It's very fluid. They can flip around, and the proteins are patterned in a mosaic. Now, look, guys, I am a lot of things, but I have on the artistic scale of 0 to 10, I'm a -1. Matter of fact, I attend a church where we have a cappella music. We don't do guitars and stuff. And nothing wrong with that. And I love music, but I've been banned by our eldership to even lead singing because somebody once described my singing as tone X, which for you music people know that doesn't exist. So my voice is tone X. Okay. I wanted a guitar in the 7th grade and my dad wouldn't give me a guitar. I think I could have been Garth Brooks. He's short, fat, and ugly, and he's a zillionaire, but I can't sing and I can't play because my dad put me on a tractor, said, "There's your guitar, go to work, boy." Okay. He refused to let me get a guitar. But anyway, does anybody know what a mosaic is? A mosaic is a random pattern. A random pattern. So like if you want to have your house tiled and you want to use 5 colors, then the artist will come in and just throw a random pattern. And random pattern is mosaic. Okay. But a lot of people get rich doing mosaics, right? So, but these guys saw that as a mosaic, and sure enough, these proteins are in a random pattern. Okay, and they won the Nobel Prize, by the way, for that discovery too. So that's kind of a big deal. That's one of the great discoveries of science. The fluid mosaic model describing the cell membrane. Okay. Now look at these proteins. Some of them are integral proteins. Some are peripheral. I already said that. Some form tunnels to allow things to come in and out of the cell. There's a nice table I'm going to get to in a second that summarizes this. Some of them carry things in and out of the cell. These are really important machinery things to get things in and out of the cell. But let me throw this thought at y'all real quick, because I'm just honored to get to teach this smart of a group of people. I really mean that. But think about this, guys. God has got a really tricky thing here. We got to get stuff in, right, to make energy to live. And most cells produce something, so we got to get things in and out. But we don't want the HIV virus in. We don't want the COVID-19 in. So we got to have a protection here. So this is said to be a selectively permeable membrane that only lets certain things in and certain things out. And somebody said one time, "Well, Rob, why don't we just dip everybody in plastic and plasticize all the cell membranes and we'll end all disease?" Right? And I said, "Yeah, and you'll die in 8 minutes." Go ahead, Sean. You had a question. Shoot, man.
How much further down? You said they photographed this with an electron microscope. how much further down, as far as degrees further down, have they been able to video this or?
That's good, Sean. That's good. That's good. I did look, and I'm sorry. I'm skipping some of my little, which I've had people come back and tell me. I think some of you guys that are super smart would probably rather hear me tell you some really cool random stuff I know, because you're already learning the material on your own, which is what you should do in college, by the way. But anyway, I usually say this: protons, neutrons, electrons are made. We have broken them down. I think they're at 7 or 8 subatomic particles that we've identified. Y'all heard of them called Katrinas and stuff like that? Some of these words. Okay. Anyway, so in other words, okay, let me put it this way: we taught our parents about, they knew about protons, neutrons, electrons. Your children are going to hear about what they're made out of. So go with me. So proteins are made out of amino acids. Amino acids are made out of atoms. Atoms are made out of proteins, neutrons, and electrons. They're going to come and tell you in a couple of years, well, electrons are made out of booga booga booga. Protons are made out of chicka chaka chaka. And neutrons are booga booga. And there you go. Where are they doing this? Those subatomic accelerators that they have, those big underground tunnels, they're ramming atoms together, breaking them apart and picking the pieces apart. Yeah, everybody know what I'm talking about? We spending like billions of dollars in the energy, like in the army and the government, where those particle accelerators, these big underground circles, okay? And by ramming atoms together. Now you got to be careful ramming atoms together, right, Sean? Because that's nuclear bombs, okay? So I'm a little bit worried, okay? But here's what they're trying to do too. They're trying to figure out God's tinker toys of the universe, and I think they got 7 or 8 of them already named. And I usually know 3 or 4 names. I'm drawing a blank, but they're named, okay? And one of them's got a cool name, and it sounds like something out of Star Trek. They even named some of this off of stuff of that, But they have done that. But what they're trying to do also is to create fusion, as the sun does. If we can create fusion in a micro scale, we can have unlimited energy forever, or at least as far as we know. So that's what the physics are trying to do. That's the holy grail for them, is to create a sun in a building that will not blow us all up. Okay, and there's been a bunch of sci-fi movies about that. There's some really good ones if you know what I'm seen some of them. But that's a great question. But that's really good. So they're on that. I think I've read it. There's some books you can read. I can find you one, Sean. There's some good stuff on that. Okay, some of the physicists have been really working on that. Good question. Good question. But a lot of these are just carrier proteins and move things in and out. A lot of diseases, y'all, are errors in these proteins. You can see that, right? I already told y'all cystic fibrosis is an error in a chlorine channel that won't let chlorine enter and leave the cell, and that causes that terrible genetic disease. Okay, it's really fascinating. A lot of them are enzymes inside the cell that do jobs when something binds to them. And of course, a lot of them are just scaffolding that hold. Everybody's seen light poles with all those support wires, the whole light poles, right? Like when you're driving around, power cords have all the cables holding them up. You got to have cabling in the cell. That's the cytoskeleton. Okay. Links. Okay. Now here's one more thing that's kind of crazy. All that, you got the proteins, you got the phospholipid bilayer, but we also have cholesterol in the cell membranes of animals. Okay. And cholesterol is what determines the viscosity of that cell membrane. If you have more of those cholesterols, and you can see them right here, look, they're a little bit darker yellow. The more of this you get, the thicker this is. So it can be like molasses, or it can be like cheap syrup, that runs right off the table. So the viscosity refers to thickness of it and how quick these lipids move. It is controlled by how much cholesterol is in it. Now, where's my dietitian? Where you at, dear? I love you. You got. I actually drank one less Diet Coke in an interview yesterday. There's Sadie. Okay, here's one for Sadie. This is for Sadie. And I'm going to learn most of y'all's names, guys. Give me a little time. Look, I swear, y'all, I shouldn't swear, but I've been doing this 30 years. I remember everybody took my first class, and the hard drive is full, and I have to go in and hand delete one out to put Sadie in. Okay, but only animals have cholesterol in their cell membranes. So when you eat animal, okay, which is grease, bacon, sausage, which, by the way, I did not have bacon or sausage this morning in honor of Sadie, okay, but I normally have a piece of bacon or sausage with my breakfast. That is what's killing America. This is one of the main sources of cholesterol, and it's cholesterol that clogs your coronary arteries. That is the number one cause of death on planet Earth. Okay, so important. Matter of fact, I'm making some good money this month, and I had a good year. I've had a good year. God has blessed me. And I told my wife last night, me and my daughter, that's a junior Sadie, she's misfit and runs out, works out, and doesn't eat bad. I told my wife to go to Kroger's or Whole Foods in Memphis. I want to try the Beyond Meat sausage that they have. Sean, they have the big kielbasa's that we like, me and you like. And what they have done, guys, look, I'm excited about this. They have found all the secret ingredients in pig, and they have put it in plant. And I haven't tried it yet. Has anybody tried the Miracle Whopper, the Wonder Whopper yet? Anybody, how was it, Megan? Was it okay? Did it suck? That is supposed to be a very impressive thing because they have a hamburger made out of plant matter, so there's no grease, there's no cholesterol. That is amazing. Sadie, I'm a junkie. You're gonna love this, Sadie. Guess what else my other favorite thing to eat other than Diet Coke is? French fries. Yes, she said she's crying over here. But I have an air fryer now, and I fry all of my French fries in an air fryer with no grease at all. So it is the equivalent of eating raw baked potato. I have now made French fries in an air fryer that better than I can with grease. We need to buy everybody in Mississippi an air fryer and a bunch of those plant burgers, and we would save a lot of lives, okay? For real. So there's my nutritionist. But this comes back to that's where you get your lipids at. That's where, and by the way, my daughter's cholesterol was 217 yesterday. And she's fit. She's 5'2", weighs about 88, 190 pounds. But I had made her 3 pieces of bacon before she went to the doctor. And I'm thinking, jacked it up, man. Okay, because she's you're supposed to fast before you do those lipid tests, and she's a social worker, so she has no idea about any of this. She quit biology in the 7th grade. Okay, but anyway, but that's kind of cool, isn't it? So cholesterol is found in animals. If you eat plant, you don't get cholesterol. The only fat you have in your body is the one that your liver makes or your body makes, and mostly that won't kill you. Okay. All right, moving on. And a lot of our drugs, look, a lot of our drugs have to bind to receptors or they have to get in the cell. So this is a big deal in drug and pharmaceutics, right? They have to bind, the cell membrane is the big barrier. Okay, now I'm going to do transportation kind of quick. I already said it's a selective permeable membrane. There are 2 ways we get things in. Passive is when things go in without any use of energy. They're free. Active transport is when we have to use ATP to get something in or out of the cell. Okay. Now we're gonna look at these. Now here are the 3 passive ways things work. And y'all forgive me, I may do a little shock biology, but it'll be PG-13. But simple diffusion is anything going from high to low. Now I don't have time to go into the physics of this, but let me just go ahead and ruin your day. Everything is falling apart and going to hell in a handbasket, and that's the way God made it. Okay, Sadie is going to dedicate her life to teaching people how to eat properly, to try to defeat entropy so that you will live longer. I am embracing entropy, and I know I'm falling apart, and I'm okay with that. I'm not, I'm just joking. But that's what nutritionists do, right? You're teaching people how to eat right to live longer. But let me tell you something. Unless the Lord comes back, and he can come back today, the way this world's looking, it may be soon. Okay? Everybody's going to die, be put in a box, and you're going to decompose to 92 elements, and some other plant or animal is going to use you. Your atoms will be recycled. The natural state of nature is to fall apart. Okay? We as animals are defeating the laws of physics and entropy. And so, and I picked on Sadie, don't mind me picking on, but we got, okay, like Talbert there, he probably goes out, works out every day. I bet he's a runner. He looks like he's in great shape. He spent 4 hours yesterday working out, running, and all this stuff. And he is defeating entropy. He looks great. But eventually he's going to fall apart and get put in the coffin, and that's the way this is going to work out. Everybody's going to end up diffusing. Now, I don't like that. I've got down to 150 2 times, Sadie. I've lost 100 pounds twice in my life. But I have to go to the gym and run on elliptical for 2 hours a day for 6 months, and I still have to run every day for an hour to stay thin. It is my DNA to be fat, okay? That's just the way I'm rolled. That's the way I'm made. Some of y'all will never have to worry about your weight, and I can almost guess who you are. And I named some people, Jasmine, Elizabeth. You probably never have a weight problem, Jasmine. You look very healthy. You know, it's just our body type, some of us, right? But let me tell you how you can tell if you're going to have trouble with weight later. Look at your mom and daddy. If your mama and daddy are the blimp, you better watch out. You better start talking to Sadie and learn how to eat right and run every day. Run for your life, right? But isn't that kind of crazy? So diffusion is everything falling apart, right? And going, all like molecules want to get away from each other. Matter of fact, the Big Bang is what? Still what? When God created the universe, what is it doing? It's still what? Moving apart, trying to diffuse, right? Very cool physics here. So diffusion is, we use it all the time in our body. This is how we breathe. Oxygen goes from high to low into our blood. If someone's crushing your throat, the oxygen can't go from high to low because you can't get the air in, right? If you smoke cigarettes and screw your lungs up, then you can't get the oxygen in, okay? So that's a big one in our body is simple diffusion. Now, I got a metaphor here. Simple diffusion is jumping in, is going to the Koi up in Tennessee or going rafting and just jump in the water. You're going to go downstream, buddy. You ain't got to do nothing. Just try to live, right? Simple diffusion is free. It costs nothing. It's going to happen. Facilitated diffusion is anything going from high to low with the help of a protein carrier. Excuse me. Yeah, protein carrier. Okay, so I would say that would be getting in a raft and going downstream. Now you had to buy the raft and all that, and you had to blow it up. But really, it is anything going from high to low with the help of a protein carrier. Okay. Osmosis is the diffusion of water. Special name for the diffusion of water. Water always wants to go from high to low. Okay. Everybody with me on that? And a lot of people get really confused with diffusion. I'll do a diffusion metaphor in a minute. I think that will help. Okay. In other words, here is some Kool-Aid or food color put in water, and after a while, we've all made Kool-Aid, right? You know, it diffuses completely out. Okay. So that is simple diffusion. Anything going from high to low. Now, to talk about the movement of water, you have to have a plasma membrane involved. Now here is a bunch of sugar on one side of a plastic divider, pull it up, and they reach equilibrium. So everybody wants to get as far away from each other as they can, and once they get as far away, you can reach some form of equilibrium. Okay, that's still showing diffusion. Here is simple diffusion. We have gases and water and small molecules coming into our cells all the time. Look, oxygen, carbon dioxide, all of these can go through by simple diffusion through that phospholipid bilayer. Facilitated diffusion is when a protein that we saw in the membrane help things enter and leave the cell. Okay, so facilitated diffusion is anything going from what? High to low with the help of a protein carrier. And you can see them right here on the picture. Okay. Osmosis is the special name for the diffusion of water as it goes from high to low. Okay. Now, I think I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Now, and this is something that I didn't know. I have only known this about 4 years. We have known that water can go through the cell membrane really easily, but when we start doing experiments on diffusion, it's quicker than physically possible to go through the membrane and all. And so this led to the discovery of special tubes that I did not know about from about 4 years ago. They haven't been out very long in the media, called aquaporins. These are special tunnels that literally fast track water in and out of the cells. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? So diffusion of water is just super rapid because it has its own little tunnel, its own little. It's almost like when you go to Memphis and see the multiple occupant lane. You can't get in it without 5 people in your car. Fast track. If you ever go out to big cities, you've seen that, right? But this is a special tunnel that lets water diffuse quickly. Okay, which is kind of wild. Okay, now let's take a minute and talk about. I want to take just a second. Now look, this is where I could get in trouble about time-wise. But to me, a lot of people have struggled understanding osmosis, okay? So let's see if we can get a little bit better picture. Here's one, okay? Now actually, let's go back to this. So here is two liquids separated by a semipermeable membrane. Now remember, all of your cells are a semipermeable membrane. So this is what goes on in your body. The one on the left has more glucose in it, right? Excuse me, over here. There's more glucose. It says a higher concentration of sugar, all the little green circle squares, the green octagons or whatever. And over here, so we have low glucose over here. Now we have a special term. If anytime you have two solutions separated by a semipermeable membrane, if they're equal, they're said to be what? Isotonic, right? If the concentration is equal. Y'all know these two words I'm coming to, some of y'all, I bet you still going like, I don't get it. Hypertonic and hypotonic. Y'all heard these terms, right? Okay, the solution that has the most stuff in it is said to be hypertonic to the other solution. We should label this like A and this B. So listen to this. Solution B is hypertonic to solution A because it has more stuff in it. Now let me give you a trick word. Has anybody ever been around a hyperactive kid or adult? They have too much energy. That's how you look at it. So whoever's got more is hyper. The one that has less is said to be what? Hypo. H, Y, y'all don't laugh, P, O, hypo. Now here's my trick on this one. Has anybody ever been poor in here? Okay, Sean's been poor. Have you ever had your trailer taken back by the bank? That would be hypo. If you have 8 cars in your front yard on blocks, you are hypo poor. Okay. Now I say that, and I come from my mother's family was very poor. She actually had the dresses made out of flour sacks. Okay. I mean, so I haven't, but I know people that have. Okay. And so that's one to remember. And now here's the part that Sean's gonna love. You're gonna love this. So everybody with me? The one that's got the least is poor, right? That's my trick. Hypo, which means much poor. And the one that's got all the stuff in it is said to be hyper because they got more stuff. Now, here's my question. In America, who gets rich and who gets screwed? The rich get rich and the poor get the shaft, right? Well, guess what happens every time? Now, that ain't always true in America because I know poor people that are rich who pull themselves out of terrible situations. But in water, the poor always get the shaft and the water always goes to the rich. So water always goes from hypo to hyper every time. Matter of fact, watch this next picture. It will defy gravity and go against gravity. I've done experiments for years in labs where that stuff will go up. I mean, that's crazy, right? A liquid rising instead of going down because it's trying to reach equilibrium. Okay? It's trying to get it, and once enough water comes over to the right, then the concentration will be equal, then it'll stop. Okay? Now, I can't go into all of it, but I'll tell this real quick. One time I had an experiment look like this, but we had a little structure called a thistle tube that's a little pipe like this. And we would order, it's an experiment. You order pig gut lining, cell membrane out of the gut, and you tape it right here. Look, that's your membrane, so the water can go up and down, right? Can go through it. You stick that in this beaker, and it's got a cap on it, and you close it off. And I put blackburn syrup in here, and I put in here pure undistilled water, which is what? Ultimate hypo, right? So I had my beaker hypo, and I had the molasses in here hypertonic. I stuck it in, the tube sticking out. It's Friday, I leave it on the desk. I come back Monday, and there's syrup everywhere in the room, and the floor everywhere. The beaker's dry. It sucked all the water out, blew it all over the table. I quit doing that experiment. Okay, let me give you an example. How many of you get them little white bumps in your mouth sometimes, like a fever blister? Here's your cure. Take a big old beaker of water, a glass of water, put a lot of salt in it, warm salt water, hold it in your mouth for about 8 minutes. That makes the water leave the cytoplasm, go into your mouth, spit it out, your bump's gone. You just sucked all the water using osmosis. Okay?
That's what we use to brine meat with.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You put salt on meat, and that's okay. Everybody's been to Cracker Barrel, right? They got freaking ham hanging at Cracker Barrel, Batesville, been there for 25 years. Okay, because you can put salt on a piece of meat, suck all the water out of it, and bacteria can't live without water. Now, eventually it does rot. Okay, but yeah, salt cured meat, smoking thing. It's when you smoke meat, you take the water out of it, and it lasts longer. So a lot of cool chemistry and cooking and stuff. But is this that kind of cool? To me, osmosis, look, I really struggled with this until I had this shown to me. Every one of y'all will take another standardized test, and I'll bet you $1,000 there'll be an osmosis question on every ACT, every MCAT. Everybody's going to put this, okay? And here's why. Let me show you this. Dehydration. Sadie's going to like this one. You're working out in the summer and it's hot, and you lose too much water in your blood, right? Because you're sweating it out, and you're sweating it out. And that causes the blood to become hypertonic, and then you suck the water out of your brain cells and you die. That is heat stroke. Okay? Now here's one, and that's very common with athletes, very, very common. Here's one that's gonna blow your mind, called water intoxication. Every year in America, 10 to 15 people die. And if you just sit here and drink like 8 bottles of water, you put too much water in your blood, the cells now become what? Hypertonic. The blood is hypotonic, and your brain cells swell up with water, and you die. In our lab book, I actually mentioned this one about, I don't know, about 15 years ago, y'all, the Wii, the Nintendo game Wii, and I know how many of y'all broke TVs. You know, you play baseball and tennis with it. Okay, you know, you're good, Miss Gonzalez, Claudia. I love that game. Okay, when this radio station in California got a hold of one before they came out to the public, and they had a competition. They called it Wee for a Wii. So they brought in 10 lucky contestants, and they set them down, and they had to drink a bottle of water every 30 seconds, and the last one to pee won the Wii. They get down to 2 or 3 people, and this woman seizes and dies. It's real. There is a widowed man in California who owns a radio station, okay? And there are 3 radio hosts like this got personality like me and Sean that lost their job, who can never work on radio again because they're the one who killed people with a wee for the wee. That was a bad idea. I used to do Fear Factor in our church camp, where we would do competition, and I would do this one, which is kind of dangerous, and I quit doing it. Is I would do a chug-a-lug with a 2-liter bottle of Coke, and the first person to drink 2 liters of Coca-Cola wins. Now I put on a rain suit, and I have buckets everywhere, because if anybody tries to drink 2 liters of water of carbonated beverage, guess what happens? You're gonna love this, Sadie. You will vomit. You will projectile vomit. And so everybody, I got 5 people on stage throwing up, which I find quite entertaining. I do Fear Factor. I call it Fear Factor. I had a little girl one time who won the darn thing. She drank a 2-liter in about 8 minutes by just sipping it, while the boys were doing this, y'all, and throwing up. She just sat there and sipped it and won the darn thing. But I made her throw up afterwards. I said, please go throw up. She said, I don't want to. I said, yeah, you need to, because she could have hurt herself by putting too much liquid in her body at one time. There are marathon runners who have passed out, almost died by drinking too much water after a marathon. There is a website where you put your weight, your metabolic activity, and how much you're going to run. It tells you how much water to drink during the event. So we don't think about that. You can overhydrate, and it can be quite dangerous. I will tell you, though, I was telling Sean that some of y'all come by my office one day. I have a picture I'm looking at right now where when I climbed Half Dome out in California that Sean has done too. I did it, and then we did it stupid. We did a 28-mile walk in 12 hours, and I don't think I urinated all day. But I drank 3 weeks. But I had a doctor, MD, with me. We drank 4 bottles of water before we started to walk, and we started at 8 in the morning. And I walked off the trail at 9:30. He walked off at 9:50. And I slept well that night. We actually went to Glacier Point and started there, and went all the way across down the Panorama Trail up to the Half Dome and topped it. Last people off Half Dome came down the Mist Trail out. Fascinating. But there's a lot of cool stuff, and I know that you ladies are into nutrition, and some of y'all may end up doing other things, and especially in kinesiology, there's a lot of things you can learn about osmosis. Okay, did I completely scare y'all to death about that? But I hope that helped. But just think that water is all, and here's another one. Let me get one more quick metaphor, and I can't even draw it. It's so bad. Well, let's just try, okay? Now, Sadie, you know I'm just picking on you right today, right? Do not take me too serious, Sadie. But I think Sadie is cool. Okay, look. So here's Sadie, and she's got a swimsuit on, okay? And I got my swim trunks, and here's one of those big bathtubs, okay? Okay, so here's beautiful Sadie, and she is very fit, right? And she's gonna get in the bathtub and fill it up with water, okay? Bathtub is full. Here is Robin. I don't know what that is. That's an extra arm. Okay, and here's the water in the bathtub. Now, because people don't understand that water is going from high to low. Okay, if this was a semi-permeable membrane, which one has more water in it? Which one? Okay, which one's got more stuff in it? Robin. This is hypertonic. Which one has more water, thereby making it hypotonic? Now, we both got 2 full bathtubs. These are identical bathtubs, but if you stand up, the water is going to go what? To here, right? If I stand up, the water is going to go to what? Here. So water would go which way? Diffusion would be water going from high to low. So the water is going from high to low, right? You get it? water is going from high to low. High water is always in the hypotonic solution. But think about that. So when we stand up, my water goes way down, hers doesn't move. The water is going to probably come in here to reach equilibrium. I don't know. That helped me one time. Somebody did something like that. Sorry, Sadie. You're much more beautiful than that, than my stick drawing, okay? And now I got somebody say he's like, Robin says I'm anorexic. No, man, that's a graphical representation of a thin person. Okay. But isn't that kind of cool? I hope that helped. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Okay. And then she's going to talk about that. So here it is again. Oh my gosh. There she's showing it again. Okay. And so you can see water can go through those aquaporins and the sugar can't. So water can move in and out of the cell very easily. I'm not going to, there's a good video. Y'all can watch it. She kind of goes through it. And it is embedded in the PowerPoint. So if you download the PowerPoint, you can watch it. I ain't got time. Okay. If you put, now listen to this. Saline, our blood is 0.9% salt. So those of you wearing contacts and you buying those $10 bottles of saline, that is 0.9 grams per 100 milliliter of salt, table salt in water. Pretty expensive table water, salt water. And that is your blood concentration. So if you drop a red blood cell into water that has 0.9%, it's isotonic. It doesn't swell. If you put blood into a stronger salt, it shrinks it and you get little raisins. It shrinks it like a raisin. A raisin is a dehydrated grape, right? You suck the water out of it, and your salt will do that. I used to do this next one in lab, but I quit doing it for obvious. I'll tell you why in just a second. But one of my favorite experiments used to be to prick your finger and drop it on a slide and then put distilled water on it and watch it blow up like firecrackers. Because blood in pure water, the blood is high, the red blood cell cytoplasm is hypertonic. The water comes in and they blow up. One of the worst things you can do is put somebody on an IV of pure water. You would kill them. Saline is 0.9% salt, and that won't hurt you. I was doing this one day, and of course, when AIDS came along, we quit pricking our fingers. So I used sheep blood, and sheep, to my knowledge, can't get AIDS. That's a whole other story I won't go into today. I was doing this in a lab one day, and the students were passing the little test tube of blood, and this little girl dropped the test tube and blew blood all over her desk and 2 or 3 other people's books. And she had a mental thing where if she sees blood, she throws up. She projectile bombed it on everybody. And then 3 other people projectile bombed it because she bombed it. And that's the last time I ordered blood. And I did get that girl out of nursing though, because if you're gonna throw up when you see blood, you need to go into teaching or something. So bad choice, right? Yeah, Claudia's liking that. It really, I swear that happened. I mean, I had vomit on me, I had blood on me. I'm like, dang. Okay, so I just use a video now. We do synthetic blood, virtual blood. But anyway, I find that really cool. So those are good terms, right? That is called a swelling, right? Crenation is when it shrinks in salt. And that's what we did a while ago with my little water in your mouth. That sucks the water out of the bumps and they shrink just like that. So your mouth doesn't hurt anymore. Okay. If one of you beautiful ladies were getting married tomorrow and you really need to lose 3 or 4 pounds, we can just soak you in salt water for about 5 hours and you lose a good bit of weight. Now you'll gain it back Sunday, or when you start drinking, eating the cake, and you're going to gain it back. But you have to be careful because weightlifters sometimes take diuretics to lose 5 or 6 pounds, and it can kill you. But it's very easy for somebody like a 145-pound girl to lose 5 pounds in a day or two if you really got to get in that dress. Okay. But I'm just saying it happens. And weightlifting wrestlers do that a lot. Because in college wrestling, in high school, you wrestle by weight size. So you can play around with water, but be careful. There it is. There's a nice table: isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic. Very good table. Once again, sports drinks have electrolytes that prevent you from hurting yourself by water intoxication, right? Did you know this? Okay, I did not know this. Check this out. Lord, I'm getting old. Sean, how old is Riley and Randy now? About 28, because he worked with you about 3 or 4 years ago, your first year. But when Randy was just a baby, we were out eating. I mean, literally, she was 6 months old. And we were sitting there, and my doctor friend was looking at me. We were eating supper with him, the guy that I tell y'all the smartest guy I know. And my wife grabbed, and me and my wife both overweight. Of course, Sadie, we don't want our child to be overweight. So my wife had a bottle of water and was feeding it to our 3 or 4 month old. And my doctor friend grabbed the bottle and threw it across the restaurant. And I went, "What's that about?" And he said, he went like, "Cuss word, Robin, you teach us stuff." And I went, okay. But you see, one of the worst things you can give a baby is pure water. Never, ever, ever give a baby water, ladies and gentlemen, ever. There have been children seized at daycares that were diluting the formula to make it go farther. Give them Gatorade, give them water, give them Gatorade, give them milk. Never, ever give an infant, I even say under the age of 2 or 3, a bottle of water. Can be very deadly. When me and Shaw remember, Walmart had bottled water already in bottles and nipples you can buy at Walmart. Now you can buy it with like the baby food already in it. Like Gatorade. So when you're sick and you're throwing up, don't drink water, drink Gatorade. You do not want to drink pure water. In that instance, you want to get the electrolytes to keep you from going into a osmosis crisis. But this is what's in sport drinks, and there's a big debate in sport drinks about the sugar being used. Disaccharides are not absorbed quickly, so they're not going to help you in the game. And actually, Powerade uses disaccharides, and Gatorade uses monosaccharides. So Gatorade is actually better, been proven, I believe. I've seen data that shows it works better. If you're in a game or sports, drink the Gatorade because it has monosaccharides instead of disaccharides. Kind of interesting. They may have changed the formula. I don't know since then. But anyway, enough on that. That's pretty cool to me. Now we get to active transport. Now this is the one that's kind of fun. So this is going to be anything going from what? Low to high against the natural flow of nature with the use of energy and a protein carrier. Now she's going to go carrier and I'm going to go because there's primary, secondary, there's uniports, symports, anaports. I'm not going to go into all that too much. Here's the most famous pump in your body. Every cell in your body has a sodium potassium pump. It uses probably up to half your ATP production use every day is this pump. It pumps 3 sodiums out, 2 potassiums in. It's a dual port or whatever. 3 sodiums out, 2 in. And this is the pump that maintains the electrical gradient so that our cell membrane is slightly what? Negative on the inside, but slightly positive on the outside. It allows for electrical transduction to travel down the cell membrane. There have been studies linking bad sodium pumps to obesity, Sadie. You might find this interesting. So there are people that may be naturally overweight because their pumps ain't working too good, or they're overworking. Okay, just basic body sense. But this is a super important pump, and here's what it does: it uses ATP, and it's an enzyme. It throws 3 sodiums out and 2 potassiums in. Okay. So my metaphor on that, and it allows for electrophysiology to occur. So let's go back to our river metaphor. Floating down the river is simple diffusion. Floating down the river in a boat is facilitated diffusion. Getting in that boat and paddling upstream, which is really difficult, is active transport. Okay? Now go with me on this. Just go with me for a thought. If we only had simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion, how much of our food would we absorb? Probably about half of it, right? You didn't sneak it, once half of it got in, then we would be pooping a whole lot more. And I hate to use gross biology. But without, and by the way, don't be handling it. Don't take no gloves out of the lab and go home and weigh it. I don't want you to do anything like this, but just do a quick mental thought. I put a whole lot in this hole and only little pellets come out the other end. There's a whole lot of active transport going on, okay? When you eat one of them little Debbie cakes, I ain't never seen no little Debbie come out the other end. And I've changed a lot of diapers, and I've done a lot of number 2s. Now, I know Megan's freaking out over here. I know it's kind of gross, but let's use what we know to learn some biology, right? Our digestive system that God, nature has created is so darn effective that we don't waste hardly any sugars, any proteins, right? Cellulose and stuff go through, but it to me is the ultimate example of active transport. You have never seen a little white donut come out the other end. Now Megan is going. Now Robin, I saw my little brother or cousin, somebody one time with some peanuts. Okay, that's a whole other thing. Okay, but peanuts and other things can, when you're little and you have a small digestive system, right? Now don't send me no pictures, please. Nobody send me no pictures. But is that not a pretty cool bad? I know it's shock biology, but that's a great example of what active transport being used, right? And Robin wished his active transport would slow down in the digestion. Let me give you one funny one. Has anybody ever tried the Alley weight loss pill? Okay, this is a pill you can take that goes to the intestine, to the little membranes that these little structures that pull sugars and have fats in, and it clogs them up. So if you take 2 of those pills, you can absorb 40% of your fat. So if you eat a bowl of French fries or go to a Mexican restaurant and eat so much grease, you're gonna die. Half the grease ain't coming into your body. It's gonna go out into number 2. It's a pretty interesting weight loss drug. But the side label says you could experience loose stool, and that's not a chair that's unstable. That's a slush coming out, number 2. And my favorite one, y'all forgive me, but my favorite one, anal leakage. I'll let you ponder that one later, what that is. Okay, but that's bad. Okay, all right. Electrophysiology, the outside of the cell membrane is positive, the inside is negative, and we send electricity down the cell membrane, and that's why if you stick a fork in 110, your whole body shocks because you send electricity all over your body. Every cell membrane in your body is electrically charged because of that sodium potassium pump. And that's enough. We won't worry more about electrophysiology. That's coming up in this course when we get to muscle contraction. Okay? Then we can create vesicles, right? And sometimes we can eat something. A cell can eat a solid. That's called phagocytosis. Okay? Sometimes it eats a liquid. That's called pinocytosis. And this is a pinching into the cell membrane and forming a vesicle. So some things are too big to get in. So they have to be, this is how your neutrophils eat bacteria. Okay, guys, listen to this. You have hundreds of millions of little cells that are your cells that have Robin markers on them for me that float through your blood like stormtroopers looking for skank bacteria. And when they do, they grab them and eat them just like that. You could have sat on that commode seat at Wendy's last night and got the I'm going to pick on Sean, the Schoncoccus bacterium. It's going to kill you, but that neutrophil comes up, sees it, and eats it. That's what's happening right there. That's bacteria getting eaten. Phagocytosis. Sometimes you take a liquid, it's pinocytosis, and sometimes we get, and this is the crazy one. Sometimes the substance binds to a receptor, and that triggers receptor-mediated endocytosis. Now we're going to talk about a disease, and y'all going to talk about this in A&P too. How many of y'all heard of familial hypercholesteremia? This is a really big deal where people have way high cholesterol. Now normal blood cholesterol should be around 180. Okay. Now my daughter's was 217 yesterday. And here's the gene. Watch, this is really fun. Here's your chromosomes. Most people have 2 normal genes. I'm just putting N for normal genes. If you have 1 normal gene and 1 hypercholesteremia, then your normal cholesterol reading is about 600. 400 to 600, which Shady would tell you will kill you, right, Shady? That's bad. These people have a heart attack in their 30s and 40s. Okay? It's a real disease, genetic disease. And it's pretty common. Probably 7 or 8% of the population of America, somewhere like maybe less than 10% have this. This is killing people. However, here's how we discover it. There are a group of people who have 2 bad genes on both mom and dad's chromosomes, and their cholesterol is like 1,200. And they die before the age of 20 of cardiovascular disease. This is where we discovered in 1969 that cholesterol is bad, and this is the only reason we measure people's cholesterol. High levels of cholesterol will kill you. I had a coworker that was one of the nicest people I've ever met, and she's just beautiful body size. She's perfect. We were talking one day, we were working, and became friends, and she said, I went to my doctor yesterday, my cholesterol was 680 or something. I went, what the crap? Not you. And she said, her dad, she has this disease. She's this person. She takes Lipitor and all types of drugs to keep it under 300. Her dad had a heart attack at 31, and nobody ate meat in their house until she was 21 at college and had her first steak. She never had meat. She most likely will die of this because it's going to kill her. And she's got to watch this. Okay? Is that not the crazy thing? They don't have, she doesn't have but half the receptors you need to pull cholesterol out of your blood. So if you are this disease, you must become a vegetarian. And these kids die. But this was 1969, and it took about 20 years to develop the statins and the cholesterol lowering drugs that I should be on, Sean should be on, probably half of America will be taking them now. They even got one now that takes the bad cholesterol out and gives you the good cholesterol, the HCLs, the high cholesterols, which are good. HCLs are good cholesterol. They clean your arteries up. So that's a good new drug we got. But great example of this. Now one more, and this, let me see if it's in here. Sometimes we got those stuff out. Okay, and they did mention here, and they did put a picture with it. But here's another one that really freaks me out. And we'll take a break after this. Transcytosis. Now listen to this one. A substance binds to a receptor like this. It gets internalized, then it gets carried into the bloodstream and chunked out the other end. Would you like to know where we discovered transcytosis? HIV. It binds to your colon cells when you have anal sex. It gets taken in by receptor-mediated endocytosis like this. There's HIV, and it gets chunked in your bloodstream by exocytosis. So it's a receptor-mediated endocytosis followed by an exocytosis. Now, guys, look, I love y'all. I'm enjoying y'all. Y'all are brilliant, and I am far from perfect. And I don't care I don't care what your race, creed is. I don't care if you don't believe in God. I love everybody. And I love whatever your sexuality is. Matter of fact, I don't care what it is. You go in your bedroom, do what you want to do. God bless you. It's America. I'll fight for you to have that right. I'm willing for some of you young people to die for that. I'm too old for the drought. I would draft you 18-year-olds. Stop having anal sex. Unless you're in a monogamous relationship. That is how AIDS is transmitted almost all the time. They won't say it on TV because that sounds politically incorrect, because that would offend a group of people. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, if AIDS had killed white cheerleaders, this thing had been cured 20 years ago. But it killed a group of people that didn't have any representation in our government. They do now. And we have treatments. Whether you like the guy that's the head of Fauci on TV, y'all see it all the time with the president, he was the guy leading the attack on AIDS. Took 20 years to get a treatment for AIDS. We'll have COVID-19 vaccine by January, February, by May at the latest. I'm kind of scared the way the research I'm seeing is we're probably going to have we honestly are going to have a vaccine about election time. Ironically, about January, about December, January is what I think we'll do. I'm very excited about the vaccine stuff I've been reading. Lord, I want to take it so we can get back to work, right? Not worry about each other. But isn't this really cool biology? To think about that, guys, that is so powerful. And like I said, we're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or step on anybody's foot. But when you do that anal sex, you are literally playing Russian roulette. So you're trusting somebody else completely with your life. Okay? And so I would not do that personally. Okay? Even in a monogamous relationship, because you don't know what your wife or husband is doing. Okay? And we're seeing that a lot of people are bringing AIDS into their family because maybe, somebody is bisexual, but the husband and wife don't know that. And it's easier to go, okay, real simple, and I'll get off this. He or she who receiveth the semen get the disease. Okay? It's transmitted in the semen in the fluid transfer. Okay? So girl, I don't think you get AIDS, girl. Okay, don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, so just FYI. Okay, so I get tickled about it. People ask, don't worry about the mosquitoes. Worry about who you dated yesterday. Okay, don't worry about giving me about mosquito. That's not gonna get you AIDS. Okay, all right, moving on. Active transport. Okay, look, tables, summary. Great. I ain't got time for this. Good little video y'all can watch. Really good video. Okay, let's take about a 5-minute break and we'll hit the organelles. Okay. Everybody good? Take a break. Do some work. Sadie's gonna go run a 1/4 mile. Sadie's gonna hit me later, Dan Lamb. Okay. Sadie, you get to pick on who I pick on tomorrow. Okay. So you get to pick somebody, and I'll make it my person to pick on. Nah, you're doing good. You're my conscience. Make me think. This is coffee. No Diet Coke, yet, Sadie. Anybody got a question real quick? This is a good time. I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to sit here. If y'all have a question about anything, I'll be glad to try to answer if you have a question. Great job on the test. Great job. Matter of fact, I think Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Oh, I'm judging.
Sadie is going to be the only one in here who can talk to me about food, okay? Because I picked on her all day today. You may ride me all month, Sadie, on my Diet Coke, okay? And whatever, okay? But look, you got to die of something, man. You might as well die happy, right? I'm just saying. Sadie, you're going to come back in a year, I'm going to weigh 160 pounds, I promise. I'm going to go to the gym. I got to get my knee fixed. Man, that's good. Oh, I can taste the fat.
I had a buddy that I rodeoed with out in California, and he had a disease that kept him, he retained no body fat. So he had to literally push to, and if he got out in the heat and got too hot, his body wouldn't stay in homeostasis. It wouldn't self-regulate.
Yeah. My 20-year-old, you know Riley, she's y'all's age, but all her childhood, we had to stop and eat when she's hungry or she'd pass out. She actually passed out a couple times in band practice. I mean, she literally is, she's very petite, which obviously she does. We tell her when she got switched to the hospital, she's probably going to be in therapy for 20 years because she doesn't look like ugly. Obviously, she's very cute. I'm ugly. My wife was cute till me and her got really big. She's still cute, but Riley doesn't look like us at all. I mean, we're like, but she has a very strange metabolism though, because I'm not one to stop when a kid's hungry. Yeah, I usually stop when I'm hungry, but we had to stop and let her eat, and she has to eat a lot of little meals. Kind of like, yeah. So some people just have high metabolism. It's just it's a blessing I don't have. All right, what everybody's getting here, let me tell y'all something funny. I usually tell a story about to explain osmosis, and it really is one of my favorite stories. But I was in a lab one time, because you don't know what, and this is something that I really don't ever hurt anybody's feelings. But I had a little girl in that lab working as an undergraduate to clean glassware, and I didn't know we were friends, but we weren't super friends. And so I had a party, because you know me, I would like to have a party. So I invited like the 12 people in our lab to come to my house to eat one night. And I cooked hamburgers. And Sean's a much better cook than me. But I am, I can cook a burger. And I cooked like 20 or 30 because I didn't know who I was going to come. And this little girl, probably about about Megan's size. Perfect body size. But I'm just not lusting here, Megan. It's just fact. Okay. I'm just making observation. And that little girl ate a hamburger like a boy eats, which I find very attractive, by the way. Right? I think women that actually eat like you should eat, sometimes y'all go on a date, you know what I'm talking about, William, and the girl will just kind of peck on the food, or she'll order the salad to impress you. Eat a steak in front of me. Sorry, I like our big hamburger. Anyway, she ate a hamburger, and then and I saw her making a second one, and then she didn't weigh 100 pounds. I said, dang, Kim, you want to just take one home with you, girl? And she kept talking about how good it was. It's the greatest thing she'd ever had. And so the party's over, and me and her are here, and my wife, whatever, and she actually she's taking a paper plate and has made 2 more hamburgers to take home. And I thought, dang, I don't mind that, but I was kind of making fun of her, And listen, man, she sat down and I said, what's going on, Kim? And listen, let me tell you how life will change you when you try to be nice and when you are nice and you care. She started crying, and she had moved from Texas to work with this idiot that I was working for, this professor. And she had followed him from Texas to Mississippi to Oxford, working with this idiot for minimum wage. All she owned was a truck and a dog, and she'd rent a trailer in one of the trailer parks in Oxford. Her bills were, all she had left was like $112 to live eat on for a month. And she had macaroni and cheese. She bought a cake. She was buying macaroni and cheese and milk, and it had it for like 180 straight days. And I cried. I love macaroni and cheese, but I've never eaten macaroni and cheese without thinking of Kim, because she was hypo poor. Okay. Well, needless to say, Kim and I became real good friends, and I give her, I could go home today and get beef from my dad. We have cow. We kill beef. we had a dairy farm. So the thought of not being able to go to the freezer and grab food has never entered my mind. And I know some of y'all may have been in situations where you didn't have food. I have never, you can look at me and tell that food's probably never been a problem at my house. So as you go through life, guys, I would always encourage y'all to think, you never know what the other person's going through. You never know. But I can't imagine how good a hamburger tastes if you'd have macaroni and cheese for like 180 straight days. So she would mix it up and get her bowl and put the rest of the bowl down for her dog. The dog had eaten it too. So her and the dog had macaroni and cheese for 180 days. Now, if I had time, I would tell that in class and make you cry. Because it is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. She is married, living in Texas, working for the Corps of Engineers. Last time I talked to her, her children have never gone hungry. So she's had a good life, but she overcame a terrible childhood, abuse. She was 15, got in that truck and left her family because her dad beat her. So, real story. All right, y'all about ready? We got a few still. Let's get them, round them up. Round them up. And just FYI, just because we got 15 people maybe has an A right now, I'm gonna do my same thing. I have no problem turning in 15 A's. If you got a C or a B right now, you're like, I'm toast now. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do. I mean, that was a 105-point test. I would never curve that one. We have some evil ones later that they make 105 on. I may curve it. I know I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna take care of everybody, be fair, but you need to know where everybody's at, right? You need to know that. Okay, and so I've always wrote the scores on the board. I would never write a person's name down on the board. The low, I think, was 46. So our range was 46 to 105. Okay. So if you had one of them low ones, we gotta pick it. You gotta find more time to study and to read your book and use the online. But there's a lot of online support stuff that's helpful too. Okay. All right, let's see if we can do the organelles kind of quick. But now these are almost everybody in high school should know most of these. But these are the little structures inside the cell. Oh, now it's not wanting to work. I love it when my technology decides to. Oh, it's that pen probably. Hang on. Yeah, it's the pen. I got to get off the pen and go back to here. Here we go. So here we go. Once again, here's our organelle. And we're going to talk about all these little structures in here, these organelles, right? That's what we're talking about now, and their job. Okay, now I'm not going to have a picture to label. I've been doing that years ago, but we'll have multiple choice questions where you'll tell me about them. All right, let's do the mitochondria first. One of my favorites. This is the powerhouse of the cell. This is where our sugars and proteins that we eat get converted into ATP. To make a really long story short, you get about 36 ATPs for every sugar molecule. 32 of them are made in the mitochondria. Okay, so 4 are made out of the cytoplasm. As you break sugar down, this is the powerhouse of the cell. Now, side note here, very interesting. Probably about 25 years ago, when I was starting here teaching, one of the books came out. And by the way, anything new in the textbook has probably been done 10 years ago in research. So we're lagging the research. But about my 5th year, a book says that, hey, man, we got this new theory. At that time, it's almost a hypothesis that the mitochondria was probably a bacteria that came to live in a bigger cell, and it made energy for it. In other words, this little orange thing was a bacterium that came to live in this cell. And I went, quit smoking the crack pipe, researchers. I'm very skeptical of new ideas, right? And the main evidence they had was this is the exact same shape as bacteria, E. coli. It is rod-shaped. It is exactly the same shape. And the second proof was it had a double membrane. So if a cell engulfs something, it has its cell membrane and then the vesicle membrane. Y'all with me? That's kind of cool, isn't it? And I thought, oh, okay, maybe they got something. Well, in those 25 years, we have now proven this, and here's what we think happened. Now, look, I'm not going all, evolution on y'all, but I think God did it. But in God's evolution, a bacteria came to live inside of a big prokaryote, a eukaryote cell, and it became the mitochondria. It even has its own DNA, and it makes its own proteins. Now, you can't take it out and it live. We passed that. It's already lost that ability to do its own. But it does have its own DNA, and it has its own protein-making mechanism, and that mechanism is a prokaryote mechanism. So we now know that is as close to a fact as there is in science. And now we do DNA fingerprinting. We can look at your mitochondria, and we can tell the origin of where you're from. If you do that, the DNA test stuff on your mouth, scrub your mouth and do that, and which I think is really cool. I don't want to use that. I don't think anybody's better than anybody, but I really want to know where my great-great-grandmother came from. We don't know a lot about her, but I can tell you she has the craziest name you've ever heard, because on her tombstone in Tupelo, her name is South Americanus Roulette. And the story goes that she came to America on a ship called South Americanus, and undoubtedly, like her great-great-great-great-grandson, she liked to gamble. So she must have liked the roulette wheel, and she chose to leave her tribal name, which was who knows what, but changed it to something that Americans could pronounce. So on her tombstone is South Americanus Roulette. We did do a DNA test on my mother. I will be honest with you, we were pretty sure that this lady was probably African, and we had a lot of evidence to think she was probably Middle Eastern. I used to make a joke in class that I'm probably 1/16th, terrorist, which is a joke. 1/16th, we're all, if you believe in God, we're all Adam and Eve's kids anyway, right? So it's just a matter, we're all kin. But where did your people come from? My brother, actually, I bought him a DNA kit, and he's so paranoid about the government that we made mother take it. And we sent it in, and she is like 0.1% not, Europe. She's European. She's British, she's Eastern European. And so I don't know what that was about. I don't know. We're not sure. My mother even, anyway, I won't go into it. But anyway, long story short, we studied the mitochondrial DNA. And by the way, guess who you get it from? Your mother. You get all your organelles from your mother. At conception, all daddy is bringing is 23 chromosomes in the spaceship sperm. Mother's egg has all your organelles. So if you got bad Golgi, slap your mama. She give you bad Golgi. If you get bad mitochondria, you got it from mother. But in studying this, that's a joke, obviously. But as doing this, we have studied this, and we now know with a pretty good degree of accuracy that guess where life on Earth started? By studying all of our cultures and looking at the DNA and seeing the changes in the mitochondrial DNA. I am here today to tell you that everybody on this Zoom is African. You all are Northern African. That is where life started on Earth. And I find that very interesting, because isn't that real close to the Holy Land, like connected? So the Garden of Eden was probably Northern Africa. And I'm going to make a joke here, but I think I can get away with this one. And if your dad's in the clan, tell him I told him he was African. Okay? Because I got nothing for the clan. Okay? Got nothing for them. They've caused what? That's a joke. But really, we're all the same. We come from Africa. Deal with it. I embrace my home continent. Okay? But that was all coming from this mitochondrial DNA. Isn't that really crazy cool? Really is. And we can talk about that some other time if y'all take in between class. But really is fascinating work. And I really do. I'm gonna have to swab my dad, and I really would like to know, some things. Have y'all seen that some of these people have done this and found out that daddy had another brother, another kid, and you may be next door neighbors to your half brother? Been some wild stuff going on with that. I got a friend that found out her dad had another family in another town, that a wife and a house and 2 identities. And dad's dead. She loves her daddy, and she has embraced her half sisters and brother. A lot of wild stuff there. But it kind of started with this study of the mitochondrial DNA is a big one. Okay, energy, I'm going to leave it alone. Energy. That's going to be an A&P too. Peroxisomes are intracellular cleanup. These are little vesicles that have hydrogen peroxide that destroy free radicals in your body. A lot of y'all have good genetics, and as a matter of fact, some people are going to live to be 100 because they got good peroxisomes. If you got bad peroxisomes, you may have issues. Anytime you make energy, there are a lot of free radicals coming out of your exhaust in your car, right? This is your intracellular free radical cleanup guy. Okay, and may you all have good peroxisomes. Look, they help break down toxins and alcohol. If you drink a lot, you better have good peroxisomes in your liver, right? Or you could have liver failure. Okay, ribosomes. Now look, every living organism on Earth has DNA and ribosomes because ribosomes are the organelle where proteins are made. Matter of fact, in that dark spot in the nucleus that we saw yesterday in lab, you remember I showed you those nucleoluses in lab? That is the organelle in the nucleus that makes the ribosome. So all living organisms on Earth have DNA. Even if they don't have a nucleus, they have ribosomes and DNA. Ribosomes is where the messenger RNA made by DNA tells us how to make a protein. This is the assembly line where a car would be made if you're using a factory model. This would be all the businesses in a town. This is where the work of the cell gene expression occurs, which we're going to talk about on Friday. We're going to do gene expression. I'm going to talk about that mystery secret code in our DNA. And you don't have to memorize it, but I'm going to show it to you. But ribosomes are where proteins are made. See, it has two subunits that like stick together like Legos. Those two subunits are made in the nucleolus of the nucleus. Okay. Then there is an endomembrane system, including the nuclear envelope, the endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi apparatus. These are all little membrane vesicles, highways and byways inside the cell. We'll run through them. The most famous is the endoplasmic reticulum. And by the way, the pictures in your book are drawings of scanning electron microscope. So we have seen this, Sean, with the microscope. There is no doubt this is what's in the cell. Okay. So you're asking me, yeah, this is cellular structures that have been identified. Most of this was done in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And now they're looking and digging more, and there's more being found in there. Okay. So really, it's fascinating time. Still, a lot of stuff unknown. It comes in two flavors. If you have little dots on it like this, it's said to be rough because it looked rough under electron microscope, but those are ribosomes stuck on it. Okay, now go with me, guys. I know y'all can do this. If endoplasmic reticulum transports things in the cell, if a ribosome is stuck on it, what do you think it's going to transport? Proteins, right? Exactly. There you go. There you go, Mr. Telford. Yeah, so you got it. Proteins. So this is famous for moving proteins. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have ribosomes, and it is where lipids are made. Now think about it. We had this on the test yesterday, right? What are the four organic? Nucleic acids is DNA, right? Fats, proteins. Those are the two things we have to make. Sugar is all about energy, right? We don't make any sugars in the human body, right? We just use them. I got somebody got their mic on. Who's got their mic on? We get some backlash here. Maybe, and it's okay if you've got a kid, or I know some of y'all got to take care of your children and stuff like that. I'll just make sure everybody's muted. There we go. I think it's better. It's okay, y'all. It's better if I leave y'all muted, and you can always jump in and talk to me anytime. Love it. But this endoplasmic smooth endoplasmic reticulum is where we make lipids, which is the two things the cell's got to make for us: fats and proteins. Okay. Can we use sugar for energy, and DNA is for genes, and we don't make a lot of DNA. But you've got to have certain lipids in your body, and you've got to have, obviously, proteins, make the enzymes that make everything, that do everything. So this is where fats are made. So anyway, it's going to rub endoplasmic reticulum, protein production. The protein is put in a vesicle, carried to the Golgi, and the Golgi is the FedEx of the cell. The Golgi is the FedEx, UPS for shipping department, okay? Smooth, look, stores calcium, makes lipids, that's the main one, and here's a cool one, detoxifies drugs. Guess what the liver's got a whole lot of? Probably the most of any cell in the body. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So if you're and listen, this is one of the coolest things, y'all love this. Anything you eat, any drug you take, any drug is injected into your body, anything you snort, smoke, or stick up your body openings, the liver is going to break it down over time. The liver don't know the difference between birth control pill, my Claritin D that lets me breathe, and crystal meth you smoked last night. The liver breaks it all down. That's its job. And God bless it. You don't need to go to no place and do a detox. Just let your liver do it. But if you turn yellow and green and your liver fails, you will die. And that is because the toxins cannot be removed from your blood. I had a friend of mine that I was raised over here at a little grocery store down from my house. He lived to be about 80. They should have put his liver in the Smithsonian. he drank a fifth of whiskey every day. And if you went over there at 6 o'clock and got an ice cream cone, Sadie, he'd give you 82 scoops. You got all you could eat because he was so nice. He'd drunk and he just kept serving it. Part of my obesity goes to that guy giving me free ice cream every day at 5 o'clock. You had to buy the first cone for $0.25, but then 32 dips after that were free because he was drunk. Or he'd pass out and give you the thing, and I would dip it out. He never died of alcohol poisoning, but he was a drunkard. So a lot of people have good livers. Other people have a lot of liver people, a lot of liver problems in America. Smooth and no pressure reticulum, lipid synthesis, detoxification. Okay, here's electron microscope. Look at this. We were at 400 power yesterday in lab. That's 170,000 is rough, and there's 170,000 smooth. So that is real deal. That's the picture of it. And to the left is a drawing of it. So this is the intracellular highways and railroad tracks of the cell for transportation. Now, I see on the Goji a short stack of International House pie cakes with the syrup dripping off of it. I relate a lot of things to food. This looks like a stack of pancakes. The vesicle comes to it, and then this modifies and packages and puts the proteins or lipids in a vesicle for transportation out of the cell or wherever it's needed in the cell. So the Goji, now look, let me just stop real quick. Listen to this. How many people, I used to make this joke. I wish your monitor had a little probe I could stick and make it stick up in your body so I could see your blood pressure go up or your anal sphincter do this. But when I said the word Goji, everybody's blood pressure went up. It's like, what the crap's that? Don't let biology psych you out. There are too many names, and that's named from a dude in England named Mr. Goji, who was so vain he named this organelle after himself. It could have been the Barney vesicle. And everybody be like, oh, I love Barney. Barney's cool, purple dinosaur. Dr. Goji named this after him. It's just a name for the shipping department, packaging department, FedEx. I suspect in the next couple of years that book companies are going broke. So they're probably going to have FedEx. This organelle is sponsored by FedEx. This is the shipping department of the cell, sponsored by FedEx. Entergy will sponsor the mitochondria, okay? Like NASCAR with all the signs on their shirts. But this is your shipping department, real simple. Here it is, taking a vesicle in, put it, modifying. Now, what do I mean by modifying it? How many of y'all have ever bought one sock? You cannot buy one sock, hardly. They come in pairs. And they put in little bags, and they got little things, little stickers holding the pair together. God has to package things in the quantity that are needed. You buy pencils, you get a box of 12. You don't get 7. So this is the shipping department, and it's just for packaging and shipping out. Okay? Cystic fibrosis, here's one I mentioned, is a chlorine channel error that makes you choke to death. Okay? Lysosomes are intracellular cleanup. And there are many types of these that have enzymes in them to help break down waste products in the body. Okay, now I want to get, this is a cool picture here. Now watch this. They usually show the DNA. I'll put it over here. So DNA over here. And actually, this is kind of funny. I think they do milk, don't they? Does it tell what it is? Usually is, I thought the book used to be milk sugar. Okay, let's make an enzyme to make Robin ugly. The DNA is copied into messenger RNA. It goes, the messenger RNA goes to the ribosome, makes that protein that gets put in the vesicle, that gets shipped to the Goji with lipids made by the Goji apparatus, by the smooth endoplasmic reticulum over here, and it gets put in the vesicle, gets shipped out to make Robin ugly. To make some of y'all smarter than Robin, to make some of y'all maybe not as smart as Robin. I'll tell you, I'm right here. I am right here on the IQ. Robin is here. Some of y'all are smarter than me. Some of y'all are not as smart as me. I can help each of you if you let me, because this is what I do for a living. Do not ask me to work on your car. Do not ask me to work on your heating and cooling. You do not want me to operate on you. Okay. But anyway, so we're all somewhere on this curve, and we have to study harder over here than this person. Life is not fair. Okay. Okay. It just is what it is. This is how we do everything right here, guys. This picture is so important because this is how we do everything in animals with DNA. Very cool. Now, let me tell you what's where some good research is going on now. We know that there are like 24,000 genes, but there's about 160,000 proteins in the human body. Everybody with me? This is kind of weird. What's going on here? Let me give you, because y'all gonna read this and might get confused. Let me give you my Forrest Gump example of this. You can have fried shrimp, you can have shrimp gumbo, you can have shrimp kebabs, you can have shrimp sandwich, you can have shrimp po' boy, you can do a lot with shrimp. God has 24 proteins he likes, and he turns a lot of them into different proteins to get 160,000. When I was your age, they said there's 160,000 genes. They ain't that many. We ain't as complicated as we think we are. It's less than that. But God uses some of these out here, and there's a lot of research going on right here. Here's where all these proteins are being altered and made. It's too late to be involved in discovering the genetic code. It's done been done. But if you want to go into molecular biology and learn about proteins, the field of proteomics is wide freaking open. It's a hot field. We still don't know how we do it all, but there's a lot going on at the Golgi and the endoplasmic reticulum that is a really exciting field of biology right now. Because some of y'all may want to go into research, and that's a hot area. Lysosomal storage diseases. Okay, I have to tell just a quick little one here, and this is one that ages me a little bit. But a lot of diseases are errors in lysosomes. How many remember, and I know Sean probably remembers this, y'all may not, I think it's on Netflix. How many remember this movie called Lorenzo's Oil? You ever heard of this movie? Now, this ain't no B movie. It won Academy Award for the movie of the year back in the 80s. So this is dating me a little bit, before you were born. Susan Sandrone, the older lady now that's kind of old, ugly. Well, she was smoking hot in this movie, okay? This is when she was like maybe 40. But here's the story. This is a true story. This American woman marries a gentleman from Europe. They have a little boy. He's playing summer league ball. He's about 8. And y'all all got little brothers and sisters. You girls play summer softball. Y'all know this game. He goes out there, and he's pretty good at the beginning of the season. Then all of a sudden, he starts falling down for no reason. Really can't. He loses all mobility, pretty much, falling. They take him to a doctor, and this is before the internet. So forget about it. There's no cell phones, no internet. They go to their doctor in Chicago. They run some genetics test, do some testing, and they come back and they go, your son has, and I can't even tell you the name. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Long name. Maybe 400 people on earth that got it. And your boy is going to lose all control of his nervous system, and he's going to die in the next 5 years, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be like Lou Gehrig disease. He's going to die. We're sorry. God bless y'all. Here's a bill for $50,000. There's nothing we can do. Nobody cares about a disease that hurts 1,000 people a year. There's just nobody, no drug company cares. Now, this girl was she was not a biology person. She was a smart lady, but she was like a business person. Her husband was a businessman. They go home, they cry, and Susan Sandrone plays the wife. And she goes to this place y'all never heard of called a library. Yes, it's a building full of books where you can actually ask, and they will get you other books. It's kind of like the internet all printed out. You got to work with them, Sean. These people have no idea. Okay. She researched and found out that the disease was a lysosome problem. She can't break down certain lipids. They call sphingolipids. And her child can't break these down. She took that little boy to every researcher she could find in the Chicago area. And they're like, yeah, I know about sphingolipids, but nobody really works on it. She sold cupcakes. She did fundraising. And she raised about, 100,000, maybe not 100,000, maybe 10, 15,000. And she sponsored the first lysosome meeting of all the people on earth working in lysosomes. And let me tell you something, they some sorry research people. And if somebody steals it's all about getting it published to get the money to keep it going, your research going. So you don't help each other, you hide. I've been in research where we go to a meeting and lied about what we were doing. My boss would say, we're working on A. A is it. A is everything, but we're really doing D. A's a dead end. Not going to work. They get in there, they won't talk to each other, and she brings that little boy in a wheelchair, who's now 3 years later, he's completely in a wheelchair. They say he can hear and see everything, but he can't communicate. And she shames them into working together. They spend about 2 more years. They develop a lipid that slows this down, not a cure, but a treatment that gives these kids 5, 10 more years of normal life before they die. And when they go to give it to her boy, it's too late. He's already in a coma. Now, I tell y'all about this because it's a cool biology connector here to lysosomes. But I got a room full of, Sean, I got to do this. I got a room full of beautiful women here. You need to rent this movie on Friday night, make your boyfriend watch it. And if he don't cry, you just get up and smile, grab your phone, go to the bathroom, break your damn SIM card, call out the window, and get the hell away from him. He's a psychopathic killer. Okay? That'll be the best thing you ever got out of my class. Okay? Because I cried, ugly cried on this movie. And when she got the Nobel, she got the Oscar for Actress of the Year, and she had that woman stand up, and she came up. I think she recognized her at the Oscars because she said, "I'm just playing your role." The husband died in a car wreck a couple years later. The mother died about 5 years. No, wait, excuse me. The mother died in a car wreck in 4 or 5 years. The father lived to about 8 years ago, and Lorenzo died 3 years ago, something like that. You can Google it. Lorenzo outlived them all in a nursing home. But we don't know how much he knew was going on. Terrible, terrible things happen to good people all the time. Okay? Sad stuff. But that's a true story about lipids and about lysosomes. Tay-Sachs is the most common genetic disease in people that are of Jewish descent. Look, the brain, the kid dies by age 5. I don't have a lot of Jewish friends. We don't have a lot of Jewish people in this area. I had a young lady that was Jewish. She told me, this is probably 30 years ago when she was in the youth group, but in her synagogue in Memphis, they would strongly encourage you not to date anybody from Memphis. So the Jewish community does not want you to marry somebody from Memphis. They want you to marry somebody from St. Louis, because if you get too much inbreeding of a synagogue, this will pop up and wipe out a bunch of kids. And it can be tested for too. You can be tested now, but back then you couldn't. See, she said they would take the boys to Atlanta, the girls to St. Louis. The boys and girls never did anything together in her, and I call it a youth group. I'm sure they have another name in the Jewish church about it. But yeah, they had things for youth, and they did not want to mix the kids together in their congregation or in their synagogue, excuse me. Pretty wild. Here's a couple more. These are some really bad diseases. Here is a nice summary of our organelles. Okay, nothing much here. I put very little cytoskeleton, actin, intermediate, microtubules. Look at these. These are the scaffolding of the cell. And here's what these are. Look, these are electron microscopes showing the intercellular cytoskeleton of actin, intermediate, and microtubules that form the inner meshing of the cell. I saw some really cool research a couple of years ago on 60 Minutes, where this doctor is trying to use those 3D printers and print kidneys. Kidney failure is a big killer in America. And he could not get these printers. He's using real embryonic cells to print a kidney, and he could not get it to work. And his goal is to make print half a kidney and stick it in somebody's kidney that's dying and buy them 10 or 15 more years before they need a kidney. And he's getting real close. But you're going to love what he discovered he did. He said he was at the beach one day, and he thought of this. He saw the shells washing up. And he goes, what I need is like a shell of a kidney. So he is taking kidney cadavers, dead people's kidneys, digesting it down to the cytoskeleton, then using that to print on the new kidney. So he's using the cytoskeleton as the mesh, and he is showing he's got it in little rats. They're going to do it in rats and dogs, dog lovers, but they'll do it in animals before they do it in humans. But I think probably before y'all get much older, we'll have this ability to buy people more time with their kidney. And his ultimate goal is to print a whole kidney and put it in. One of my best friends got a kidney last year. I told y'all about that. That's kind of personal to me. But isn't that cool, man? We're really breaking some ground here. With that cytoskeleton is important. Okay, centrioles is another one. Okay, here's something that drove me crazy about biology. Why we got so many names? When I was your age, it was called a centriole. The centriole is a little thing right here. It looks like a daggum head of a combine to pick up beans. This is the cellular come along or winch. Now look, I get people mad at me all the time. I even forgot to tell y'all this the other day. I was doing that fatty acid speech one time, and I looked over at a little girl that's like me, a little bit overweight, and I almost called the riot. She said, "Did you just call me a fatty ass?" And I went, ma'am, I said, fatty acida. I mean, it got ugly real quick. She done got up out of her chair and whoop me. Okay. So I said fatty acida. Okay. Some of y'all looked up in your coffee when I said winch. Okay. Y'all thought I said female dog. Okay. Everybody know what a winch is? That's the thing on the front of the 4-wheel drive truck that these idiots who are not farmers and don't know what they're doing, daddy buys them a $30,000 truck, and then they go mud riding and try to break a $30,000 truck, and then they tie it to a tree, and it's a winch that pulls them out of the mud. I was raised on a farm. I've never been mud riding. I would never do that to a truck. I did total 3 trucks though on the farm before I was 18. Okay, in the name of work. Well, one of them was just me being stupid. But anyway, yeah, I did total 1. But everybody got it. A come along, you know, that you have on the 4-wheeler to pull out of stuff. Okay, this is God's molecular come along, and y'all all saw it yesterday. That's what pulled the chromosomes apart in anaphase. So you have little cellular winches that pull those chromosomes apart for anaphase and telophase. We've been calling them centrioles since probably 1950. And about 5 years ago, somebody decided, well, they're in pairs. Let's call a pair of them centrosomes. And better yet, let's just call the area where they hang out in the cell the centrosome. Right in that lab book, we spent 2 days trying to figure out what the crap centrosome meant. So people call it 2 centrioles or the area where this occurs. It's called the centrosome area, where this cellular come along is going to pull the cells apart. Okay? Is everybody cool with that? Centriole? So basically the same thing. Centrosome is 2 centrioles, or it's the area where these filaments that are going to be the cellular come along occur to do cytokinesis. And I was raised on a farm, y'all, dairy farm. We had 300 females. We kept them pregnant. We had a baby every day. We had a winch we tied to the woman, the female cow's butt, and a rope around the baby's leg, and we pulled the baby out. Come along. Very graphically crazy childhood. Seeing a lot of births, a lot of death as a kid, animal death, of course. Okay, I got to do it today because y'all, I'm trying to have fun. Okay, let me ask this. I learned this 30 years ago. I did not know this when I was single. So I found this out after I got married. How many of you girls and maybe you boys are attracted to a super cool truck? Anybody? Just be honest. Okay, my dad let me buy 3 vehicles. He bought 2 vehicles for me. I bought a 4-door car because I knew if I bought a truck, it'd be tore up on the farm. We'd be putting dead cows in it. I get over here teaching, and I had this room by the road, and about every semester, some boy with them glass pipes would pull up, and make a lot of noise and spin out right in front of my office, about classroom. And one day, early my first year, a dude pulled up to the stop sign, had it, big old truck, and I looked around, and every good-looking girl in my class was turned around, lusting after the truck. This may just be a Northwest Mississippi thing. Faith knows what I'm talking about. Hey, my best student in that room, this is late in the semester, the smoking hottest, best-looking girl in the room, stood up and said I'd sleep with him to ride that truck. I went straight to the phone and called my brother who was single. Get a truck. He bought a Land Rover within a month. He was living in Atlanta. He was single, living in Atlanta. Don't be so vain to be in love with a vehicle. Vehicles are just transportation, but to a lot of people, vehicle is your extension of your body, right? So when I get a Tesla, I guess I'll be being cool one day with my Tesla. But I always think about that come along on the front of that truck. Those things are like $3,000 or $4,000, some of them, right? They're very expensive to put those on. And I'm like, man, just don't get in the mud, dude. You don't got to, Anyway, I thought it's kind of funny. But that's what this guy does. So don't let centrosome and centriole confuse you. They look like this. This is what they look like, and they pull things apart in the cell. A winch or come along. Microvilli are little hairs where we absorb things. Cilia and flagellum are for what? Movement. Here are the microvilli. Your gut has these little fingers on it that allow us to absorb food. Now, listen to this. This is a good one. I'm about to wrap up. Your small intestine is about 27 feet long, and it's about as wide as your hand. So that's 27 feet this wide. It has little villas in it, which are these little fingers right here. Actually, you don't see villas here. Villas are little fingers of epithelium that stick up. That takes the surface area to a tennis court. But if you pull the cells off, and this is 31,000 power, the fingers themselves have little fingers called microvilli This is where we absorb all of our food, y'all, in your body, and it covers 80 yards of a football field. So your small intestine's surface area is 0 yard line, 50 yards across, all the way to the other 20. That's why nobody gets no white donut coming out. We suck all the sugar, proteins, and fats up because we have a microvilli in our fingers. The drug I mentioned earlier, Ali, blocks the microvilli right here so you can't absorb fat. We talked about Splenda yesterday in lab or lecture. Splenda is glucose, Sadie, with a chlorine on it, and it can't be absorbed. It can't get in right here. And it's sugar with a chlorine stuck on it. So all that sugar ends up going out in our number 2, as with the fat. Is this not? I mean, I thought it's pretty interesting. I actually use that. Sadie, I always talk about that because I use a lot of nutritional stuff in my lecture. Has anybody heard of? Oh my gosh, the oil that Procter & Gamble made back in the 60s called, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. But they have an oil.
Oleo.
Yes, thank you. There's an oil that's 5 triglycerides stuck together that the human body can't absorb right here. KFC was going to fry chicken in it and be fairly looking good chicken with no calories and fat. The problem is, the problem is the fat takes all your vitamins and take them out of your poo-poo. So if you were to eat that oil every meal, you would be vitamin deficiency. The FDA allowed it for snack foods. I tell you what, they still got them at Walmart. If you see Doritos that are like $5 a bag, and then there's a smaller bag next to it, that's $18. That's the Doritos. So they about quit making them, but they would fry potato chips in this oil, and it has no grease content that you can absorb. It's greasy, tastes just like Doritos. I bought them to school. We ate them. They're wonderful, but they're like beer. You got to get used to drinking it because you will experience the loose stool and the violent anal leakage. Okay, so be careful with that. But that is an oil that cannot be absorbed that we can cook in. But now with all the nutritionists in the world, they've banned it pretty much. Okay, because they do these blind taste tests and it's safe. It's just it will cause bloating. But absorption is all right there. So microvilli, we use cilia to move things. To make boogers in our nose, we take our dirt particles and wad them up with little cilia. And of course, the flagellum and the sperm is how it swims up to the fallopian tubes to make babies, right? And cilia, cilia we think are made from the centrioles. See that the molecular structure is the same. Look, you cut a flagellum or cilia, it looks like a centriole on the inside. So we know that's their origin. Okay, and there's your table on all that. Okay, then we get the nucleus. Let's do it real quick. And the nucleus is the DNA, the genes, the chromatin, all that. But there's also a little dark spot in there called the nucleoli where the ribosomes are made. Okay. And here is the nucleus, and you can see it has little pores in it. And that's where the messenger RNA will come out with a message. The dark spot in there is the nucleolus that we saw in lab yesterday. Nothing much here. The genes are in here. The genes never leave. We copy them. And here is we talked about this in lab, and let's hit it one more time. So an X is a what? Duplicated chromosome. And in the anaphase, we pull them apart, and they become what? 2 unduplicated chromosomes, right? But then in interphase, they unravel down into chromatin, which is just a strand of DNA. You have little proteins that serve like spools that you'd buy thread or cotton or fishing line on, right? And they coil around it, and that coils up and forms a chromosome. Look at that. There it is. So a chromosome can barely be seen at 400 power. We saw them yesterday, but they can unravel. Now listen to this. If you take your 46 chromosomes in any cell of your body and unravel them to this, okay, and stuck them side by and put them end to end, that's a bad drawing of a person. Boy, I need my board. You got about 5 foot of DNA in every cell of your body. Okay, you got 5 feet of DNA. That's an F. But when it coils up, you can barely see them. But it's only about 5 atoms wide. It's very thin. You couldn't see it. You can hold it up, but you couldn't see it. But it has to condense into chromosomes so we can see it with a light microscope. So yesterday, when I did my little lecture in lab, remember I talked about slinkies. Chromosomes are slinkies out of the box. When they unravel, you can't see them, and that's why we can't see them in interphase. They're unraveled, and they're being used and read like this. So the genes are being expressed. Here are pictures, bad pictures. I've seen better, but this shows you a karyotype that is your 23 pairs lined up. And they band up by color and size and length, except everybody has 2 leftover ones. If you get 2 of these X's, you're a girl. And if you get an X and a Y, you're a boy. I would also say, I don't have time for a day, but that ain't always true. So I get tickled at some of my ultra conservative people, conservative friends of mine in my particular religion. Like, your sex is determined by conception. Maybe not. Okay. A very interesting thing that happens quite often, actually, maybe every 30 or 40,000 babies, is you get a tumor in your adrenal gland and you make testosterone, and it goes down here and makes boy and girl. It's called hermaphrodite. And they are always sterile. We never, when I say that, we've never had one come forward that could conceive or carry a child. So it's like their reproductive plumbing is very messed up. And I want to end this lecture with this thought. And it's just a thought, because y'all are so smart. I tell this in my class anyway. I don't have an A&P 2, but I don't get to have y'all in A&P 2 when we cover the adrenal gland. So if everybody in here, we'll start with this. Think about this. There is no argument that there are people born with skewed sexuality in the genitals. It is fact. Google it later. Don't Google it in Northwest. You'll get thrown out. But there are plenty of sites, including you'll probably end up going to a porno site, because some of these people make a lot of money. They can be the boy and they can be the girl. Okay? They actually sometimes have a vagina where the scrotum would be on the boy, and they can be the boy or they can be the girl. Okay? Long story short. Now, I'm not trying to talk about something dirty. I want to make something really important. If you can get both sex hormones here and make you skewed here, then I think anybody that's got 3 brain neurons would have to agree with me that there are probably people out here that got both sex hormones on their brain and development, because we're pretty sure that testosterone hits this, you think like a boy. Don't matter what the plumbing is, you think like a boy. If estrogen hits this first, you're a girl, and it doesn't matter what the plumbing says. And if they both hit it, there are people that are probably enough. We probably really need to start putting 3 bathrooms up in every public building, boy, girl, and uncertain, or mixed. There are people who like both boys and girls. I watched a TV show on HBO back about 10 years ago that blew my mind. You can probably Google it on their HBO documentary. They interviewed these people that were hermaphrodites. They had not been cut, and they had been cut, but they literally have tried to pass laws in America to prevent anybody from being cut to remove sex organs until you're 18, because most of them get their little boy part cut off. They put a dress on them. They name them Robin and send them to Girl Scouts. They get 15 and they like girls and they like boys. I mean, they like, and one woman told me in the video, said, I like them both. I got a boyfriend and a girlfriend both. Like them both. Another girl they interviewed, like, a person, excuse me, neutral. I don't like anybody. So there's some of them just neutral. Now, I don't say that to kind of time, trying not to talk dirty. I'm just trying to teach y'all a little something as y'all go forward and work through this world. Everybody has issues. I have my temptations are to speed and to gamble. I can't drink. I quit drinking years ago because I can't drink and drink. I want the whole bottle. There are people I have taught that I love dearly that have this. They're scared to go to the bathroom because they don't know which one to go to. We almost had a war in Batesville 10 years ago over this person wanting a private bathroom. And some of our, quote, Christian religious people were about ready to kill some people over this. And I'm like, my gosh, let this person be. Let them be who they are and don't get into their business. But I have a lot of fundamental people on this earth, and my parents and stuff, who think everything is cowboy and Indian, right? How many of y'all play cowboys? Well, you girls probably did. I bet Megan did. Did y'all have cowboy Indian at your house growing up with their guns and shoot each other? Everybody wants to be the cowboy till I got to college and found out what the crap we did to Indian. I'm an Indian now. Because they got raped and pillaged by America, as other ethnic groups have been done wrong too. Okay, so I got a lot more respect for Indians after I got educated, right? And I try to educate myself in everything. So next time you're flipping through TV and there's some girl trapped that's on some TV show on Ellen, and she says, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body, or I'm a man trapped in a woman's body, stop, listen to them, they may really be. And I think there's science to prove that. Okay, what do you think about that? That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Blew my mind when I saw that. Hey, y'all have a good one. We got through a good bit. We're going to finish chapter 3 tomorrow. Okay. See y'all in lab a little bit. I got to grade some lab quizzes. Okay. Talk to y'all. Okay. Everybody good? Any questions before we go? It's a good stopping point. Yeah, we're right here. We're ready for protein synthesis. I strongly recommend y'all read this tonight. It is probably the most difficult thing we got to cover for one of the more difficult things we cover this semester. All right. Love you guys. Any thoughts? Anybody questions? I know some of y'all are going to get in the car and get on up here. So go ahead. Y'all can leave. I'll hang on. We're through. I'll hang on in case somebody's got a question. So hang on if you got a question. Don't get mad at me. I never tried to be ugly. I want people to think. And I got to do more listening. Anybody? Question? Anybody? Y'all good? Okay. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Y'all be good. I'll hang on in case anybody's got a question. You guys, anybody got a question? William? Y'all good?
You said that we would be able to look at our test in between lecture and lab. I'm here in the math and science building now. Would it be possible if I looked at it now, or should I just wait till after lab?
I don't care. You can come down here and look at it. I got to grade some quizzes and maybe get some lights on. But yeah, come on down. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, buddy.
I think the hallway that you're on, is it blocked off or?
Talking about those sidewalk, that little side hallway. I unlocked the door a while ago when I came in.
Yes, sir.
Come on down to that door that says office on the first floor and just come on in.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good to see you, man. No problem.